Hello farmers, my name is Watsap, and today I am coming to you from Goromonzi Mashonaland East at Pepsia Farm, a farm that is being owned by Amai and Babasa Mudzimu, and they are undertaking their agricultural ventures at this farm. Today we are going to be talking about harvesting tips. We are going to be talking about the investment that they did inject into this project. Thank you, Zimbabwe, for tuning into yet another informative edition of your program. This is Agricultural New Directions in support of Vision 2030. Stay tuned. As I've alluded to earlier, we are going to be looking at wheat production, wheat management, and even the post-harvest maintenance tips to ensure that our yield is protected. At this point in time, we've taken the liberty of inviting Wendy Matashu Madzura. She is an agronomist, and she's going to be taking us through the technical side of how wheat is produced. Wendy, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Wadza. It's always a pleasure.
I'm very happy you are back. The agricultural streets haven't been the same without you. It's so exciting to have you with us on this episode.
Thank you so much.
Now, Wendy, I'd like you to talk about the importance or the essence of producing wheat as Zimbabwean farmers.
Okay. So to begin with, farmers should understand and know that wheat is the second most important cereal crop after maize, which means we need to produce enough for us to feed ourselves as a nation and achieve food security, after which we can then export to other countries and become the once breadbasket of Africa. But over the past 3 years, we have seen that the strides that the government have made to try and make sure that we get to that breadbasket status and reduce importation of wheat have been fruitful, because we have seen an increase in the volumes of wheat that has been produced. Also because we are seeing an uptake of wheat production by numerous farmers who have irrigation, who previously didn't want to take up the crop because they didn't know that it's a valuable crop to do in winter.
Okay, thank you so much, Wendy. I would like us to talk about the stage that this crop is at. As you can see, what would you want to say to our Zimbabwean farmer in terms of the activities that they can do, the management tips, to ensure that this yield is protected up until they go to the market?
You know what, as they say, there is a time for everything, and there's a season for everything. For us to have this wheat crop at this stage, it means they managed to establish it at the right time.
Okay.
So in order for you to achieve a crop that is this beautiful, this endless green belt of wheat that we are seeing here, you need to establish your wheat crop in May. By the by the 15th of May, you need to make sure that your wheat crop is in the ground. Yes. Latest end of May, so that you get to harvest your crop before the onset of the rains. Because the rainy season is not a season that is desired by wheat. Yes. It will reduce the wheat quality. So the stage that we are seeing here is the milk dough stage.
Yes.
This is the stage that most of the crop out there has reached. And we also find that the farmers who did the earliest planting have already started harvesting their wheat crop, which is a beauty because they harvested well before the onset of the rains. They can come in with their land preparation in time for them to do their summer crop. Okay. So this is also very important. The problematic insect pests at this time include aphids, bollworms, fall armyworms. Those are the problematic insect pests that we can find in the field at this time. So farmers are implored on to continue with regular, systematic scouting, whereby you find some farmers, when they go to the weekend, to the farm over the weekend, yes, they just move around the field in their cars. They don't go out to check what is happening inside.
Okay.
If you do that, the crop might have challenges in the center of the field that you might not know or see from a distance. So you need to make sure that you are getting inside, checking regularly for any changes. If it's insect pests, make sure that the economic threshold level has not been reached. Economic threshold or injury level has not been reached, because it then means you are now incurring losses from those insect pests being in your field.
Could you talk about harvest tips and how to maintain or reduce post-harvest losses that come either with storage, that come with harvesting? Can you take us through that?
Thank you, Wadza. So it all starts off by understanding the yield determinants that are going to affect the harvesting process.
Okay.
So the yield determinants in wheat are the number of tillers per plant. Maybe I can just uproot one and show you. Let me just uproot any, because they are all the same.
Yes, they are very uniform.
They are uniform. Yes. So if you find that the number of tillers that you have, this is one plant. So if you count and get an average of 8 to 11 tillers per plant, it means you are set to get a bumper harvest. But not only that, those tillers should be reproductive. Otherwise, we are looking at vegetation at the expense of reproduction. So we want to have reproductive tillers. So if you count and get 11, 12 tillers, then reproduction is in place, then it means that you're going to get a bumper harvest. Then moving from that, you also need to understand that harvesting is not not a process that you can tell just by looking at the field and seeing that the leaves are drying. It might mean that there's a disease that has occurred.
Very true.
It might mean that you are under irrigating your crop or stressing it. It might also mean that the nutrition that you put in is not enough.
Yes.
So the crop has been forced to reach maturity prematurely. So you also need to use other determinants for you to know that maturity is in place and harvesting should start anytime.
Okay.
So one of the other things that you need to take note of are the days to maturity for the crop that you will have grown. If it's wheat, you are looking at the days to maturity ranging between 130 to 140 days, give or take, depending on the heat units in the area.
Okay.
So that is what our farmers can use reliably. But you can also use the dry down, couple it with the days to maturity, as well as issues to do with your understanding of your area in terms of the heat units, the evaporation that happens in your area. Those are determining factors that you can use.
Okay.
But you also need to make sure that before you get to that stage, don't stress the crop in terms of irrigation.
Okay.
Wadza, allow me to talk about the irrigation schedule.
Yes, very
Irrigation
pertinent.
scheduling is important because it gives way to the amount of water that you are giving the crop at any given time. So there are those farmers like this farmer that we have here with a beautiful center pivot,
Yes.
which they are using for irrigation. So for that, you can irrigate your crop maybe once every week with 22 millimeters of water. But the water holding capacity of the soil differs because of the clay content in the soil.
Okay.
So the higher the clay content, the higher the water holding capacity. So if you are in sandy soils, it means you need to come in more frequently with to irrigate your crop to make sure that it's not starved of water. So in sandy soils, you can irrigate with 30 to 35 millimeters every 7 to 10 days.
Okay.
But in clay soils, you can irrigate with 40 to 45 millimeters every 10 to 14 days. But this will also depend on the electricity availability, the method that you are using to irrigate. Because if you come in before and after, you can tell the level at which the water was and the level at which the water will be after irrigation.
Okay.
This is one way of you to know amount of water that you are putting in, if it's enough, and you can adjust accordingly. And the farmers should have an evaporation pen where they can measure the percentage of evaporation that is happening so that they can get good results and guard their crop and get good yields.
As we close this segment, Wendy, you are seeing this beautiful crop, this wheat that you are looking at. It is prone to fire. What would you want to say to our farming community in terms of protecting their wheat?
It's not a complete story until the money is in the pocket.
Very true.
So we want to talk to our farmers today and ask them to make sure that they have fire guards, sizable fire guards, depending on the area that they're doing their cropping, to ensure that they don't get unnecessary wildfires coming into their fields. And also they should also conscientize their labor force not to use matchsticks unnecessarily in the field. Some of them use fire to warm themselves up when they are guarding the field at night. Some of them are also going to use fire for other uses. But we want to make sure that they understand the dangers that come with using fire in a field of wheat, particularly at that golden stage of wheat, where once the fire catches on, and it will spread very fast.
Okay, thank you so much, Wendy. It was a pleasure having you with us today. Like I've said earlier on, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Wadza. It's always a joy. We are looking forward to the 2022-23 farming season.
Viewers, as I've alluded to earlier, we are going to be talking to Maisa Mudzimu, who's undertaking her wheat cropping ventures here at Pepsia Farm. She also has an orchard, a mushroom enterprise, beef cattle ranching, to mention but a few. Maisa Mudzimu, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for coming to our farm.
Yes. I'd like us to talk about a brief background of this farm. As you can see today, it's a field day. You have managed to pull crowds and different stakeholders to come and look at what you are doing as a farmer. A brief background, what inspired you or motivated you to get into farming?
Wow. I'll start off with the brief background of this farm.
Yes.
This farm, when we started farming here, it was just land. But what has happened now is we now have so much infrastructure in terms of irrigation infrastructure, the building infrastructure, and the infrastructure for the mushrooms and the orchard as well.
Yes.
As well as the livestock.
Okay.
Yes, but when we started, it was not easy. It was a difficult, long journey, but we were determined to make this work.
Okay.
Finding out that when you get into a shop, you see most of the foods in the shop, they're coming from the farmer.
Very true.
So we thought, this is a business. This is the business to do, because we want to feed the people, and now we are happy to be able to feed the nation.
Thank you so much, Maisamu Zimu. I understand that this is an investment, like you said. You have irrigation facilities, you managed to build some infrastructure for your mushrooms, you have an orchard. It's an investment because agriculture is capital intensive, and you need to have the requisite financial resources to undertake, to be able to produce good wheat like this that we are standing in today. You need money and financial resources. As an investment, what are your sentiments? What did you come across? What did you learn? Is it short term? Is it long term? And even your recommendations to our farmers who might want to get into wheat farming one day.
Right, you are so right there. Farming is capital intensive. And like any other business, when you put your money into a business, you need to make sure that money is growing, that money is taken care of.
Yes.
And it's bringing good yields. You need to make the profits. If you don't make the profits, then the farm does not succeed, or any business doesn't succeed. You go bust, you go broke. So this is what we've done. We made sure we are here on the farm. We are hands-on with everything that we're doing and monitoring the profits and losses and improving on the next stages.
Okay.
Yes.
You spoke of monitoring and ensuring that everything is in place so that you can know, have I made losses, have I made profits?
Sure.
This will take us to our next question. In terms of your labor or your farm workers, are they skilled? What do you look at when you engage a farm worker? And you generally, as the overseer, as the owner, what are your duties like?
Thank you. On hiring of labor, I've looked at a lot of CVs that are very decorated, and you'd think, oh, this is the best guy to have on the farm.
Yes.
But sometimes it doesn't then produce those results.
Yes.
So I look for people with experience, people with passion, and people who are really much interested in the enterprise, and people who have the same dream as we have.
Okay.
Yes, because we really want this place to grow. We want this place to feed families. We want to feed the nation.
Your word of advice to our farming community. Kune vabereki vakatarisa chironga, vamwe vari kukaroi, vamwe vari kumarondera. In terms of working hand in glove with your children, we understand that here in Zimbabwe, there are certain scenarios whereby vana vanenge vachingomhanya nemota and they don't know where the money is coming from. And maybe one day when the parents maybe is deceased, or maybe things happen, they don't even know. They run like headless chickens. They don't even know. So your word of advice to our farming community, kuvabereki vari kunzoko, vamwe vari kurima vega asi vana varipo. Your word of advice, especially even to our generation here in Zimbabwe, in terms of undertaking agriculture as a business.
Right. My word of advice to parents, when you are in the farming industry, parents, take your children to the farm.
Yes.
Let them see what the farm can produce. Show them the figures. When they've worked hard, show them the figures and pay them as well.
Very true.
Give them an incentive to come to the farm. And once they are incorporated in the business, they will understand the business and they'll love it. And they will know they can produce more than us, because like now we are having this technology being brought into the farms. So they do better in that aspect more than I do.
Yes.
So I like having them on the farm because they bring in the new ideas. Also, I'm so happy that should we be very old and we are retired or maybe gone,
Yes.
this place is not going to be said, panga pane chikwambo paya, mai vai vakaenda nechikwambo chavo, kana kuti baba vai vakaenda nechikwambo chavo. Because panenge pasina anorima.
Yes.
Saka now that they are already in the system, they know what's expected on the farm. They know what can be produced from the farm.
Yes, thank you so much, Maisam Zimu. That is very important, especially to our farming community. If you look even at tobacco farmers, we have scenarios whereby mwana pesira mshonga ndakashandiswa season yese and I wasn't given anything. That was a very key point that you spoke on, being able to award or reward your children when they come to the farm with you. Finally, as we close, your relationship with either agronomists or government officials on Shandawa Agri-Techs, or even from seed houses, companies, what is your relationship like as a farmer?
Wow. That is a very important one. And I always say, what I have here is land and passion for the job.
Yes.
But I love working with the seed companies because they give me the seed and they'll give me that assurance to say, you know, when you do this properly, this is the yield that you're going to get. And I like to follow that. And I like it when they come after us, after giving us seed, when we've bought seed from them, they come and check on the seed. How are you doing? It's actually a good relationship with us and the seed houses.
Yes.
And we also have the extension officers and the government officials. They come here and we really appreciate that. They also conscientize us on the diseases that we may have around, including the fall armyworms. Maybe we might have the pests around. They'll conscientize us. They'll conscientize us on if it's on the livestock side, on the foot and mouth problems that we may be having creeping close to us.
Yes.
So we like these extension officers because they're always here to tell us what's happening in the area and how we can improve if we're having challenges on the fields. And the government officials, we also have at least a platform where we can talk to them about the issue now. We are having a big issue on the pricing of our produce.
Yes.
So we are buying our raw materials in US dollars and the pricing is in RTGS, and those two are not tallying whatsoever.
Very true.
It's difficult for us now to have a profit and make this as a business, farming as a business, because we cannot work with the RTGS against the US dollar, especially with the inflation rates that we're having now.
Thank you so much, Maisa Mudzimu. There you heard it, viewers. This is Maisa Mudzimu emphasizing on having a good relationship with our agronomists and our extension officers. Thank you. Thank you, Zimbabwe, for staying tuned to Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness in support of Vision 2030. We are now here in the third and final segment of your program, where we are going to be talking to the various stakeholders who graced this event, a wheat field day, where we are talking of harvesting tips and wheat production tips. Now, viewers, we encourage you to be a part of these conversations. Feel free to get in touch with me, the producer, Wadzanai Manyore. It's on 0772 807 506. Alternatively, you can like our Facebook page, Agribusiness with Wadzanai. Leave your comments and suggestions on our YouTube channel. They are very important to us. It's Agribusiness with Wadzanai. We are also available on Twitter, and our Twitter handle there is at Agribusiness110. At this point in time, I've taken the liberty of inviting Nomsem Liskwa. She is a female farmer working in Mangura, Mashonaland West, where she is undertaking her various agricultural enterprises to ensure that as a country we are food self-sufficient and pave way towards achieving Vision 2030. Noma, it's a pleasure having you with me today.
Hello, Wadzi.
As a woman, you are undertaking agriculture. How are you ensuring that you complement government efforts of empowering the Zimbabwean woman?
Do you know what? I'm super excited actually, and I love this subject. As a woman farmer in Zimbabwe, I find that the government has been very supportive. They give us inputs. But as farmers, when we get those inputs, I think we also need to make sure that we take the inputs where they're supposed to go.
Yes.
We're supposed to take them to the farm and make sure that we're buying from reputable organizations,
yes,
shops, and associations. That is the first thing. And we should get also advice from agronomists and our field officers who come, Agritex officers, because the government has really made, has really
yes,
tried to make sure that we learn. We were not born farmers,
yes,
right? We are learning, but where we are now, we can say, you know what, I think I know what I'm doing. And I want to thank the government of Zimbabwe for what they are doing to us, especially as farmers. I mean, look at me.
Yes.
I think 2030 is going to be attained through me, the National Development Strategy.
Yes. Finally, Noma, I want us to talk about women in agriculture. You want to find that there are not a lot of women who are commercial farmers. Most women not many women are commercial farmers, but you are a commercial farmer. Your word of advice to our Zimbabwean farmers, to our Zimbabwean female farmers, in terms of adopting agriculture as a commercial entity where you can make a living out of it?
My advice to women farmers out there, I know takakura tirima tichiona wabereki wedu nana mbuya wedu vachita subsistence farming.
Yes.
Ikakudza vanhu vakawanda. Asiye zvinezvi farming yapa neimwe level.
Very true.
Anditi kwane smart farming. Kwane climate change. Zvakuda kuti semurimi nzwisisa zvauri kuita. Wabereki wedu vaitoita iyo smart farming iyoyi ne climate change vaitonzwisisa vachiita makomba kune pfumvudza yezvinezvi.
Yes.
They can get into that can also be a professional, a commercialized way of farming.
Very true.
Do you understand?
Yes.
And the government has made it possible. Kuti ma farmers vawane ma inputs. Washande and it's inini ndiri panapa semudzimai. I get support. But the support I got from the government is I said I want to engage to a smart partnership.
Very true.
And I want to make sure that ndarima, zadza matura, supporta food security. Do you understand?
Yes.
So at the end of the day, Wadza, it's about you as an individual and as a woman. Look at yourself and say, I can do it. I'm a game changer in this area.
Yes.
You know, and as a woman, you empower a woman, you've empowered a nation. Mudzimai akapiwa simba rekurima akapiwa zvese nema inputs. Anowana zvinhu zvake amumunda munonakidza umu. Varume havaiti basa sezvinoita vadzimai.
Very true. They are not as passionate as we are. Yes. Thank you so much, Noma. It was a pleasure having you with us today.
Thank you very much, Wadza.
At this point in time, I am joined by Solomon Mudoti. He is a Chiwara, it's a farm where they are undertaking their various farming operations to ensure that the country is well fed. Solomon, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I can see you are a youthful player in the agriculture value chain. What is the essence as a youthful farmer to attend field days?
Okay, basically, we always say the youth are the future of the country.
Yes.
Yes. So we need to take part. We know agriculture is the breadbasket for Zimbabwe.
Yes.
Yes. So we need to learn from this, from the best that have been in the business, get the knowledge, we impact it on ourselves, then emulate them, and then we can go forward as the youth. I know the youth, we are plenty much into the fun stuff.
Yes.
But either way, we need to get into farming. Agriculture is actually a very lucrative business.
Very true.
When it comes to the economy of Zimbabwe. It gives us more than 26% of the GDP. So we need to venture as much as we want to have fun out there.
Yes.
We as youth, we need to venture into agriculture. There's no way there's no other way. We need to venture into agriculture. It's very good and it's quite profitable. It's farming.
Finally, Solomon, we are wrapping up. Can you highlight the importance of the Zimbabwean youth, the Zimbabwean youth farmer, in having a good relationship with the agronomist?
As for me, I'm a recent graduate from MSU.
Okay.
I did agronomy. So the most important thing, you have the theoretical version of the farming.
Very true.
From the schooling. Then you need people that have been in the field. You might know how to grow it, but you need someone who have grown it to tell you, no, there are some hindrances, there's climate change, there's everything. So you need that advice from the people that have been in the field. They know how it works.
Okay.
They know the channels. They know the links to even to cheaper fertilizers, cheaper inputs and everything, and the best inputs that have.
Okay.
Because you're learning from someone who's been doing it for, let's say, 5 years.
Yeah.
You're starting it. He has 5 years worth of experience.
Very true.
That he can impact on us as youth.
Thank you so much, Solo. In the words of Solomon here, he's telling us that we need to ride on the experience of those who are already in the industry. Thank you for joining us.